Hello children, welcome to physics class. So in the previous video we were discussing about the work. So now do you know what is a work in scientific term? So if you want to say a work is being done, so you should have force acting upon a body and the body should displace from one place to another. Then only you can say a work is being done. So if you want to do any work, what you need? You need energy. That is what you are going to see in today's class. Okay. So after running or walking for a long time, you might feel that you don't have any energy to do more work, right? The term work and energy are interrelated. So let's see what is energy. So energy that helps in doing work is called the energy. Or energy is defined as the capacity or ability to do work. So if you want to do any work, for example, if you want to move your table from one place to the another place, what you need? You need energy to move that table, right? So if you want to move the table, you should have energy. So energy is defined as the capacity or ability to do work. That is called the energy, and the SI unit of energy is joule. Okay, so you can write it as capital J or you can write it as joule. Okay, the SI unit of energy is joule. Now you know what is an energy, but where do you get the energy from? So if you want to carry your bag from your home to school, you need energy. So the energy that you need, you get it from your food that you eat. So what you have to do? You have to eat well if you want to do any work. And all of us depend on plants for our food. Directly or indirectly, we all depend on the plants. Plants in turn obtain energy from the sun. Thus the production of food is depend on light and heat from the sun. So most of the energy sources on this planet have their origin in the sun in some way or the other. Therefore, we can say the sun is the biggest natural source of energy to us. Okay, the energy can be classified into different types. Okay, in today's class, we are going to see the two main types of energy: potential energy and kinetic energy. So, what is this potential and kinetic energy? First, we will see what is this kinetic energy. Okay, any moving object such as a flying bird or a running kid or a moving train has a moving energy. This energy of movement is called the kinetic energy. So we can define it as a energy possessed by a body by the virtue of its motion. The kinetic energy is nothing but the energy of motion is the kinetic energy. For example, rolling a ball down a hill. So when it is moving, it will have a moving energy. Going down a hill on a roller coaster, so it will have a kinetic energy. All the moving object will have the moving energy. This energy we call it as a kinetic energy. This energy of movement we call it as a kinetic energy. So we can define the kinetic energy as the energy possessed by a body by the virtue of its motion. So from this you can say all the moving object will have the energy. That energy we call it as a kinetic energy. So we can define the kinetic energy as the energy possessed by a body by virtue of its motion. Okay, the faster an object moves, the more will be the kinetic energy it has. Okay, everything that is moving has a capacity to do work. This will happen when the moving object comes into contact with something else which is then itself moved. For example, you all play with marbles, right? So when a moving marble strikes a stationary one, that stationary one will move after striking by the moving marble, right? So it has the capacity to do work, right? So you know that what is a work? Work is the product of force and displacement. So the moving marble as a force and it displaces the stationary marble, right? So it is doing a work. So all the moving object will have an energy to do work, that we call it as a kinetic energy. Okay, next we will see the potential energy. Okay, you Try to stretch a rubber band or compress a spring. Okay. To do this, what you need? You need a energy. The energy that you use gets transferred to the rubber band and the spring and gets stored in them. This stored energy in the body is called the potential energy. Thus, we can define the potential energy as the energy possessed by a body by the virtue of its position. Okay, so what is the potential energy? The energy possessed by a body by virtue of its position. We call it as a potential energy. The stored energy can be changed into moving energy. For example, if you release the compressed spring, so you all get the spring inside the pen, right? So when you compress it and when you leave that, what will happen? It flies in the air, right? So when you compress and if you leave the spring, it will fly off, right? So the stored energy can be changed into moving energy. The energy can be stored in different ways and can be used later. Okay, so the energy can be stored in different ways. It can be of position, shape and state. The energy can be stored in the object in different ways. Okay, we'll see an example of potential energy of position is water stored behind a dam above the turbines of a hydroelectric generating plant. So when the dam gates are open, the water rushes down and does the work by turning the turbines to produce electrical energy. Water behind a dam before it falls to drive the turbines in a hydroelectric power station as a potential energy. That is, water behind a dam as a potential energy due to its position. Okay, next we will see the potential energy due to its shape. Okay, an example is a stretched rubber of a catapult before the release of the stone. It has the energy to do work. Next we will see the potential energy due to state. Okay, an example is steam, which has a lot of potential energy stored in it to do work. Okay, so we have seen in today's class what is energy, what is kinetic energy and potential energy. So energy is the ability to do work or cause change. Energy comes in two basic types that we have seen in today's class. One is kinetic energy and the other one is potential energy. The kinetic energy is the energy an object has because of its motion. So it depends on the object mass and velocity. The kinetic energy is the energy possessed by a body by the virtue of its motion. The next one we have seen is the potential energy is the energy that results from the position or the shape of an object. The potential energy is nothing but the energy possessed by a body by the virtue of its position. Okay, the kinetic energy and the potential energy are the examples of mechanical energy. Okay, the kinetic energy and potential energy together, it is an example of mechanical energy. Okay, so we have other different forms of energy that we are going to see in our next class.